Hey, you guys, Karen from Ask the Spirit Guides. How's it going? So, I'm still sporting the bedhead from this morning because still dealing a little bit with the stomach flu. But the beauty about working here on YouTube is I get to take a little rest. And then, if my brain is somewhat clear, which it wasn't yesterday, so I did not record anything yesterday, I decided, you know what, I can do this tonight. So, here I am. I really wanted to get to your questions about soul contracts, specifically about Donald Trump's soul contract. We had a bunch of follow-up questions. So this is part two. If you have not seen part one, I will go ahead and list it down below, and I'll also put it right here. So if you want to, I don't think you have to start with part one to, enjoy this video first. You can go to part one after this one if you want to. So, all right. So we have 18 questions. If you're new here, hello again. I'm Karen, and I do have several things that I do on this channel. One is speak to my spirit guides through these dowsing rods, so they answer questions for us. If you're like, what is going on? Then I'd recommend that you start in the Start Here playlist of the channel. That will give you a really nice introduction of what's going on here and even about spirit guides and all that kind of stuff. Okay. And I also do angel readings. I kind of alter the readings with the SGs and then angel readings every other night. And I do coffee with Karen in the mornings just talk about what's going on in the world and kind of have a spiritual take on things. So join me when you can. It would be amazing. Okay, so the first thing I do is say a little prayer. I close my aura to all but my higher self, the God consciousness, my guides and guardians, and ask Archangel Michael to please protect this channel so it's only of the light. Amen. Now you guys are going to notice the little yes and no on the screen. That is their yes and no response to the questions that we're asking. Okay, I've got the questions in front of me. There are 18 of them. I will give a little bit of commentary in between if I feel like there needs to be some clarification or if I have additional questions that I feel you might find interesting. Okay, let's do it. Hey you guys, talking to my SGs. This isn't the first time I've talked to them today. I was asking them about the whole flu situation I have, so. Which, by the way, if you're interested, I'll have to talk about this in Coffee with Karen, but they told me that it was a spiritual purging. And for some reason I thought to ask that. I've never even thought about a spiritual purging before, ever. Ever. And for some reason right away in the morning yesterday, I thought to ask that and they're like, yes. I even asked that before I asked if I had the flu, so it's kind of interesting. Okay, let's see. So are you guys, I'm talking to my SGs again, the spirit guides. We call them SGs around here. Are you comfortable answering the questions that are in front of me? Okay, the answer is yes. And we're all going to be, our energy is protected here from any negativity by answering these questions. Is that true? All right. Yes. Okay. Okay. And again, these were your questions in follow up to the first video, which had quite a few views. I don't know. Maybe there was a lot of repeat questions. We only have 18, but my sister may be holding some for part three or part four. I'm not sure. So, okay. She might have just combined a whole bunch of them together too. And I might have to take a little drink. Okay. All right, so soul contracts. Number one, does God assign us our soul contracts? Well, interesting question to start off with. So they're not answering that, which means they need more detail. This is where my brain might not be totally functional tonight. We'll see. Okay, so I think we might have asked this in part one. Did we ask this question in part one? Something similar to this? Yes. Um, okay. Do we assign our own soul contracts? Meaning our higher selves? Okay, so yes. So our higher selves determine what our soul contract's going to be for each lifetime? Yes. Is that in consultation with God? Okay, there it is. Okay. So it's in consultation with. Okay. Yes. So we have the ultimate say in what our soul contract will be? Yes. Okay. Number two, do we need permission from a person's soul to discuss their soul contract? Good question. No, and it's interesting because I remembered after the first one, I did say that I was going, and I'll ask right now if I can remember again. I literally said in the beginning that I was going to ask to talk about Donald Trump's soul contract. And then I realized I forgot. And I was like, well, I didn't. But I had already asked them. I think I had asked them. Obviously, I'd asked them if it was okay. And I did that in the beginning of this video. I asked them if it was okay to answer these questions, right? And some of them are on Donald Trump's soul contract. So can you guys, I did want to do this the last time. Can you please, is it appropriate for us to tap into Donald Trump's higher self to answer these questions about Donald? Okay. So can you please pull in Donald Trump's higher self, please? Remember, you guys, his higher self is of the love and the light, period. Okay. And it's better to think of it that way, I think, for our own vibration, right? And they're all saying yes. Okay. So, Donald, are you here? Or the spirit higher self of Donald Trump? I don't think the higher self would be called Donald. Is your name Donald Trump as the higher self? No. Okay. All right. So the energy of Donald Trump's. Okay. Yes. Okay. So my SGs, you answer the basic questions though, please. And then when they're Donald's questions, he can answer those. Okay. Yes. All right. Thank you for whoever clarified that. So let me ask again, do we need permission from a person's higher self or soul to discuss their soul contract? Apparently not. Will you, if we're discussing something that would not be appropriate, will you answer? Okay, they said no and no to both of those questions, just in case somebody's just listening. Sometimes I forget to tell you what the answer was. Okay, number three, is the soul contract basically our astrology natal birth chart? Oh, wow. Yes, that's what I was trying. I did a reading about my birth chart this year, and it kind of just went over my head. I have to go back and watch the whole thing again because I'm understanding it more. Wow, look at that, you guys. Look at the swing on that. Yes. So there's experts out there that I know one of them. They live in the town that I live in, but she does it remote on birth charts. So there's probably plenty of people out there who can do your birth chart. So it's kind of interesting. Number four, it was probably more like I've talked astrology and birth charts and stuff is a little bit more specific than I need it to be. But the more I understand things, then I could go back to it and go, oh, okay, I get it. You know, it's very, I just like general themes as the big picture person that I am. Okay. But other people might really appreciate it. Number four, if we try to manifest something that is not a part of our soul contract, can it still be manifested? Okay, so they were swinging yes, and then they said no. So let me just clarify, because they might have just been swinging. They were probably saying yes to whatever I was talking about. They join in on a conversation when I'm just chatting. So number four, if we try to manifest something that is not a part of our soul contract, can it still be manifested? Can we still manifest it? Interesting. No. Is this why paying attention to our intuition is probably the best idea? Yes. Because if you ever thought, like, most of us probably when we were younger, I shouldn't say most of us, I don't know. Maybe, I don't know who, but I did. I'm going to marry a millionaire, that kind of thing. But it never really felt right, even when I said it. Like I'd feel like, ugh, It's just probably not, it wasn't part of my birth plan, my birth chart to do that. Okay, and my mom knew it too. She's like, "Oh yeah, good luck with that." So she put the kibosh on it right away. It's not very nice. Okay. When you're a teenager and you're like, "Well, I'm just gonna marry a millionaire." I don't know if anybody else did that, but number 5, when individuals take their own lives, is that part of their soul contract? Yes. Okay, so when is that just their exit? Is that that's their exit point that they planned was to, yes. Is it human beings that made suicide seem like such a sacrilegious, I guess is the right way to say it? Is it human beings that made it seem like such a bad thing to do? Is suicide? Yes. Okay, interesting. We could do a whole nother thing on suicide, you guys. If you guys had a bunch of questions on suicide, that would be interesting. Maybe. Just to help us understand it a little bit. Okay. Is there ever a time when someone commits suicide that it wasn't a part of their soul contract? No. Okay. Is there a suicide in some soul contracts and they don't commit suicide? Yes. Okay. So do we have multiple exit points that we plan in our soul contracts that we can leave Earth at certain points? Yes. I'm only asking that because I've heard that many times actually. And suicide could be one of them for certain soul contract birth charts. Yes. Okay. All right. Interesting. Number 6. Are there human beings that do not have a soul? No. Number 7. Okay, Donald, we're calling upon you here, okay? Just answer what you're comfortable with, please, obviously. Okay. Does Donald Trump in human form, I know you're not Donald Trump, but does Donald Trump have dementia? Okay, wide swing, yes. If yes, is the Republican Party taking advantage of him? Yes. Think about that, guys, for a minute. Okay. Number 8. Did Donald Trump agree in his soul contract to be a crumb to help others with their soul contracts? Yes. I believe I know what you mean. I'll let other people interpret that however they feel. So there's a very wide swing on that. Okay, number 9. Is Donald Trump a young soul? No, I believe we answered this in number 1, so I like to see some consistency. I think someone asked if he was an old soul. Are is See, I don't know, like, is it the higher self that's the old soul? Or is it the energy? Yes. Oh, okay. So the Donald Trump's higher self is an old soul, meaning you've reincarnated many times. Okay. Yes. Okay. Number 11. Does each person that supported Donald Trump have a soul contract that coincides with his soul contract? Interesting. Yes, that's a good question. We could unpack that. Boy, you guys ask questions about that because we could really unpack that. Like, I did something about mega at one point. I can't remember. If you guys can go back and watch any of and I try not to do, every once in a while there'll be a prediction thing in there, but I try to do a more of an understanding thing. So they're really not outdated videos. It's more like just trying to understand and answering a lot of questions with the SGs. So, but I believe I did one with megas, but that would be really interesting to unpack that. So ask questions if you have those. Number 12, should we pray for Donald Trump whether we like him or not? So try to make good energy around him. Huh. No. Okay. Is that because that will interfere with his soul contract? Yes. So I have, this is commentary from me. I have come to, and you know what, for some reason I've always felt this because I just never really understood prayer. Even when someone was sick, I always felt, and you guys will leave comments so you can see other people, how people pray. But I really just say like whatever's in their best interest type of thing, like help them to have peace and, relieve of pain and all that kind of stuff, I think is feels good to me to do. But remember, when we're doing that, we're projecting what it must feel like for us, I think. Is that correct? Okay, yes, is it better for us to keep our prayers general? Like just say, please, please help Donald. Um, I don't even know what to say. You guys can put it in the comments, or not even help him, but just please direct. I don't know. Maybe it's just praying for the whole world. Maybe it's just keeping it as general as possible. Yes. Asking specific, I thought we had to ask for specifics though. No, we just need to ask for guidance. I mean, we just need to ask for angelic spiritual help if we want it. Okay, but yes, and so we should say as general as possible though. Okay, is that not to interfere with whatever's got to happen? Karmic cleansing? Yes, they're answering yes to all of that. Okay, all right. And that could be another session. There's so many sessions coming out of this. So let's do one on prayer, you guys. So ask a bunch of questions on prayer. We look at all your comments. So, and collect the questions. If we have enough, we'll do a session. Okay, interesting. Number 13. Do ETs know Donald Trump was elected due to cheating? Yes. Okay. Was that always in Donald Trump's birth plan to be a part of this kind of conspiracy thing? Yes. Is it going to turn out, not necessarily in timeline, but is this for the best of humanity? Is this going to bring out the best in humanity? Yes. Okay. All right. Number 14. Did Donald Trump have to be certified to avoid a bloodbath? Wide swing, yes. If yes, does he have to be inaugurated in order for us to avoid a bloodbath? No. And the only reason I went is because I just don't want, we are learning very differently here on how to process what's going on in the world. So this isn't about right or wrong answers, about getting your hope. It's not about that anymore. It was for me in the beginning, like having hope about stuff, but now it's really perspective. So if you're new here, that's really the energy of this channel, is about perspective and learning about yourself. Okay. And so you can take that with a grain of salt, which means if that doesn't happen exactly that way, then something has shifted. Okay. So, or actually the answer was just no, he doesn't have to be inaugurated to avoid a bloodbath. Is that correct? Let me ask that again. So does Donald Trump have to be inaugurated to avoid a bloodbath? No. Okay, so I guess I interpreted that as he won't be inaugurated, but that wasn't the question. Okay. So if he is not inaugurated, if he is not inaugurated, will there be unpleasant things happening? Yes. Is there going to be unpleasant things happening regardless? I mean, it's what, we're 11 days in? Yeah. Yes. Okay. All right. All right. We're just at the tipping point, I think, you guys, of some really good things coming about, but we just have to hold on to our hats and be here together. That's all we can do, right? And try to stay as positive about it and just support each other, because it's not always positive. So just being here to support each other is really all we can do. And being with your people, whoever you're with, to support, and you know. Okay. Number 15. During the attempt on Donald Trump's life in Pennsylvania, did his original soul depart at that point? No. Interesting. So I'm gonna. There was a few follow-up questions, the if yes, but I'm still gonna ask those. Did Donald Trump have an alternate walk-in come in after the Pennsylvania incident? No. Is there such thing as alternate walk-ins? Yes. Again, whole nother session, you guys, we could have on alternates and walk-in spirits. So ask your questions on those. Okay. Is Donald Trump's, does he have a new soul that is acting the part right now in his body? No. Okay. I think they were answering yes to, do you guys want us to have a session on walk-ins? Wide swing, yes. Okay. I think that's what they were responding to. All right. Number 16. Can a country have a soul contract? I love that. Oh, another whole. Okay. Yes. I mean, how many have I said so far? We could have like 6 or 7 more topics here. Yes, a country can have a soul contract. Is Donald Trump around due to that? Oh, okay. Is Donald Trump here? Is his soul contract tied to the United States soul contract? Yes. Is anyone living in the United States? Are we all connected to that soul contract? Yes. Okay. Interesting. Number 17. Is Donald Trump being led to a starseed race for a specific agenda? What? I don't even know what that means. Yes. If yes, is this race of people trying to help us? Yes. Okay. And ask your questions. I don't even know how to clarify on that. Number 18, can I ask my higher self to reincarnate to a different planet for a few thousand years? I'm sorry. I love it when my sister always puts like a really funny one at the end, which I think is amazing. Can I ask my higher self to reincarnate I'll break this up, to a different planet? No. So as a human, can I ask my higher self to reincarnate to a different planet? No. And then this person put for a few thousand years to avoid Donald and others like him. No. And what's the fun in that? Think about how much you have grown in the last 2 months. How much have you grown in the last 2 months? How much have you discovered about yourself in the last 2 months? And you may not be where I'm at, where I can laugh about it. You may not be where I'm at, like you may not be at the acceptance stage of the grief cycle, because that's what is happening. A lot of people went through the grieving process, and it's different for everybody, right? And so, but it doesn't matter where you are in the grieving process. You have to tell me if you don't think you've grown at all in the last 2 months. I'd be surprised. Really think about that. So you can't avoid it. You need to be here with us. Come on, we can do this. All right, thanks for being here, you guys. We'll see you in the next video. Maybe join me for coffee with Karen tomorrow. Bye-bye.